Elon Musk, we'd have 10 times the...
Oh my god. Yeah, there's a lot of arguments here over like what was the motivation during the foundation of the state of Israel. And this is something where, and obviously my mind can be changed on this, but this is something where like I went back and forth a lot on this, and...
Wait, let me respond. No, let me respond. No, because you let Zionism.
Yeah, I've got.
I also saw an Indian soldier for the IDF was also killed. I saw that news. That was pretty crazy. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel.
Okay, I don't. Okay.
Hello, I am Eren Yeager. I am talking to everybody to do the Fountain Titan's power.
This is not a real dub. This is not a real dub. There's no shot that this is a real dub. No shot. You're trolling. This cannot be real. It is? No, it's not.
Listen to me. I'm starting the rumbling right now. Bloody bastard. Listen to me, everybody. Don't tell me what to do. I am going crazy today. I am not kidding. Listen to me. I am transforming myself into a 300-meter skeleton titan. Listen to me, the whole country of Marley.
Why would it be in English? Oh yeah, true. No, oh my god, you're right. Why did he? You're right. What am I thinking? I forget that other languages exist sometimes.
You are dead. You are finished. Right?
Okay. Indian W equals Indian accent. Listen, I feel like I just figure the whole world speaks American, okay?
What up, bro?
Hey.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
This kid thinks he's smarter than us.
Yeah, I think he can hear us.
Oh, shit.
He said they were smart. The press hates when I say they're smart. He said they were smart. Well, what am I supposed to say? They're stupid people? Kim Jong-un leads 1.4 billion people, and there's no doubt about who the boss is. And they want me to say he's not an intelligent man. They get very personal when I say that because they're fake news, that's why.
Oh my god. I think my parents were at this rally last night. My mom sent me a video. I will say it is interesting how they frame the shots to make these look like super ultra packed, but you can see from my you can see from the footage my mom and dad took that like these bleachers are like not even really half full in the background. I don't know if you can how well you can tell, but you can see like how empty the bleachers are in the background here. But I guess to be fair, everybody, I doubt that's unique to Trump. I'm sure everybody does that. You put people right behind the camera so it always looks packed. Reminder to check if your parents added any credit. Yeah, fuck. I have to call and set up a second meeting with them. Have they seen Trump live before? Probably. House clips. Debate recap.
But that's not the point. The same people have Trump all the way as the winner, meaning it's not even close. Even CNN is like, look, this is not even a race. Trump's got a 40-plus point lead. All these other guys are fighting for the silver medal. Why is Vivek last? Why, Tom? Why is Vivek last on these polls?
F-E-A-R. Fear. I believe that that is the kind of snap and gumption that they don't want to face.
And yeah,
I honestly believe that is I think they see in that.
Ugh.
You, Swami, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the...
Oh my God. What did somebody take a Reddit comment and turn it into real life? What?
People there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. Do you think the Democrats, I mean, we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Hi, how you doing today, buddy?
A bit better. I got back from a really hard bike ride.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So what do you think about all the polling data right now saying Trump is, like, leading by a mile?
On the Republican side or in the general?
In the general.
I haven't seen it, but it wouldn't surprise me right now. I think that Trump, I just feel like Trump is a person that inspires both hatred and love. Like, he's very polarizing. Biden doesn't as much, but, it seems like, I think I read an article, that if you look at like the special elections and everything that have happened recently, even though Biden's approval is low, that doesn't seem to be hurting other parts of the Democratic establishment. So it might just be that people aren't that excited about Biden. But I think when the election season like starts to pick up and we start talking about things like Roe v. Wade and like Trump's record, what Republicans want to do, just in regards, I want to say in regards to their policies, but I don't even know what they have right now for policy at the moment.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to hurt him more than help him, but I don't know how much it'll hurt him, and then we'll see, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's insane to me how popular Trump still is, especially after, like, he literally admitted to sexual assault during, like, discovery or his deposition.
Oh, in that civil case? I don't know if that matters that much, but sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like... Sexual misconduct has harmed other presidents, like, quite a bit, like Clinton. It's just bizarre to me how, like, at least among his fan base, they don't seem to care at all. But yeah, like, he's just such a terrible candidate. Like,
I mean, that's your opinion,
it's
but
bizarre to me.
I mean, obviously Republicans fucking love him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just bizarre to me that he could be ahead in the general polls. I could understand in the primary, but, like, my God, a lot of Americans aren't very smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's not... People don't vote on these candidates, especially like Trump, for, like, intelligence, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Vivek, have you seen some of the shit that Vivek has done lately? Like the Young Turks thing?
No, I've not. Why? What was that?
Oh, he didn't know Anna's name. He's just clueless on literally anything related to foreign policy. Like he just genuinely does not know what somebody's saying, and then he just tries to ignore what they're saying and talk about something else, so he doesn't have to admit that he doesn't know what they're talking about. And then he's wondering why. And well, and yeah, I was watching you reacting to what's his name, edutainment, they're like wondering why he's like last in polling. He's a retard. Even Trump fans know he's a retard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the issue is like people, for Vivek, his issue is there's a lot of overlap between him and Trump, and people are always going to go to Trump over him. So I don't know what he's trying to do right now in the
I don't know
what his goal is in that, other than to get a point, like a seat in like Trump's cabinet, but he's not popular enough to take enough away from Trump for that to even matter. So I have no idea.
All right, well, just came in to chat a little bit. Hope you enjoy the rest of your stream.
Yeah, have fun, be careful.
All right, take care, man.
Like, I don't know if you know much about Benny Morris, but
yep, I'm aware.
He's like roundly criticized. Yeah, the okay, whatever. So, like, he seems to say, even in his later book on 1948, that like Plan D was still initiated into action, even if it was not necessarily a conscious effort by the commanders of the Haganah, but that through their actions they were, in a sense, initiating that goal of transfer. So retroactively.
I'm confused about everything. Hold on, I don't understand. Plan D. So Plan D was a conscious effort to take territory for the newly formed Israeli state, but the contention, I believe, is whether or not that was always the goal, or whether or not that was a response to the rejection of the UN mandate for dividing up Palestine. Some people, I guess the arguments back and forth are that ideas for Plan D were drawn up in 46, which was before anything, right before the mandate had been suggested. Yeah, I think Plan D was drawn up in 46 prior to everything, but I don't believe that like the seizure of territory and the beginning of the expulsion of Arabs from villages, I don't believe that happened until after. I don't believe it happened until after the rejection of the mandate. I could be wrong on that, because I tried to search more for this yesterday, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure that it was right after the mandate was rejected, because after the mandate was proposed, the Israelis accepted it, because obviously they were happy with it. The Arabs got super mad, and then I'm pretty sure there was a whole bunch of violence that sprung up right after that. One being, I think, the killing of like 5 or 6 Jewish, or maybe 9 Jewish people from some Arabs on like a bus or something, and then basically everything starts to fall to shit. And then at that point,
both are doing retaliatory attacks.
Yeah. And then at that point, basically the Israeli people are like, okay, well, fuck it, we're gonna seize and push out for as much territory as we can. And then in the process of doing that, and then in the process of them declaring independence, and then in the process of the other Arab states going to war with them over the territory, that's basically how that all sorted out. But the main contention is just like, were they always planning on expelling a ton of Arabs and going to war for territory at the cost of all the Arabs that were there, or were they willing to work with them when they declared independence? That's kind of the contentious thing, but yeah.
Right. Have you heard of Operation Nashon? Is that how you pronounce that?
I've never heard of that. No. What is that? Tell me how to spell this so I can look it up.
That's Nachshon.
S-H-S-H-O-N. Wait, N-A-C-H...
C-H-S-H-O-N. And so, you were, the primary reason I think that the Israelis started, Morris describes it as a shift from a defensive stance to an offensive stance, because they realized they were having difficulties getting their convoys from Jerusalem.
Oh, I am aware of this, yes, because after, I didn't know this was the name of it, but yeah, this was the huge thing where after the mandate had been shut down, I think a lot of I don't remember if it was with external Arab armies or it was only with the Palestinians, but they essentially started to cut off a whole bunch of cities from each other. Yes. I remember at some point, I think the number I keep hearing is there was like 100 convoys. Guy who was
a Nazi.
Sure.
Yeah, Al-Husseini, and he was killed at Al-Kastal. I don't know.
Yeah. And then this is where, all the convoys were basically destroyed. The Haganah, I think, was losing a ton of people. And then eventually they regathered their forces and started to aggressively secure routes between cities to fight back against the cutting off of supplies and convoys and stuff. Yeah. What about this?
Right. So I just wonder, because there's debate on whether in implementing this operation, that, the intent of this, was basically to initiate Plan D and explicitly seize and expel Arabs from their surrounding villages. Because, I mean, there was Deir Yassin. Is that how you pronounce that?
Deir Yassin?
Deir Yassin. Is that how you pronounce? That's the pronunciation.
Wait, fuck. Who's this guy's name, or how do you spell it?
No, like it was the big massacre committed by the Irgun and Lehi, and they killed like 107 Arabs or something.
Deir Yassin
like this is
on 48.
Deir
okay.
Yassin. Oh,
gotcha.
Sorry.
You're good. When I read shit, I never retain that. Thanks to you.
I have no idea how to pronounce any of the shit that I've been reading.
Mm-hmm.
And people argue that that's a clear instance where basically after that happened, the Israelis seized on that to drive a ton of fear into the surrounding villages and get them to essentially flee away. And people see that as a first clear instance of an ethnic cleansing on the part of the Israelis.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't. So as I was going through like all the history of this, it's hard to do like the massacres because there's always so many on both sides.
I know, yeah.
And every single year it's like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I have not read about this particular one. Somebody said this is a common one that people cite, maybe. So maybe I should be familiar with it. But on April 9th in 48, when around 130 fighters from the Zionism military groups, the Irgun and the Lehi, killed at least 107 Palestinian Arab villagers, including women and children.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. But the reason I'm going for, because I'm working from the beginning, and to me, the 1948 war, just because of that debate you had yesterday about the founding of Israel, and was that founded inherently on this idea of transferring Arabs out of their homes, or was it instead a reaction to hyper nationalism and anti-Zionism on the part of the Arabs, and actually was two nationalities fighting against each other? Like, to me, that's a really important issue. I mean, I don't think that necessarily has much relevance today for like what the solution to, like, I'm not, I no fucking idea what that is. I listened to you yesterday and I just wondered if, because I think maybe that's what he was getting at, was these initial
Well, wait,
stages.
hold on. To be clear, he was getting at nothing because he's a propagandist paid by Russia.
Fair.
Okay, that's right. But for a better faith discussion,
he was whatever the person he read or
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
YouTube video he watched was.
But there's a lot of arguments here over like what was the motivation during the foundation of the state of Israel. And this is something where, and obviously my mind could be changed on this, but this is something where like I went back and forth a lot on this, and yeah, it seems like there's enough writing from a lot of the early Zionist people that you can say, and enough like recorded conversations and stuff, or not recorded, but like records of conversations of early Israeli leaders where, territorial expansion was probably part of the aim. It seems like it, but then it also seems like it's always preceded by a fuck ton of Arab-Palestinian back and forth violence too. So it's hard to say. Like the one thing that I wish would have happened at any point, like at some point, if like all of the Arab states would have been like, okay, let's chill, let's like drop borders, let's figure some shit out. If that thing would have happened and then Israel would have continued to like push and kill and fight and expand, then it'd be like, okay, clearly like there's an issue here. But I don't think that ever really clearly happens. But then the counter argument is always that, well, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Ever since 81, or whenever the start of the first Aliyah is, ever since the 1880s, there was no reason for European Jews to be there. So the Arabs always had like a moral authority to fight them off their land. So it's actually fully justified. So yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I just wanted to say. Also, I blame the French. Okay.
How did the French get blamed in this?
Just. It was all the Dreyfus affair. That's my hot take of the day. Just when in doubt, just blame the French. Okay. That can solve the current conflict as well. Okay,
keep that in mind.
that's all. All right, have a good rest of your day. And by the way, sorry, Chad, I'm using my phone. That's why I said that.
Nice.
Okay, bye.
Bye. A number of Palestinian Arab prisoners were executed, some after being paraded in West Jerusalem, where they were jeered, spat at, stoned, looted, and eventually murdered. In addition to the killing and widespread looting, there may have been cases of mutilation and rape. Jesus. The massacre was condemned by the leadership of the Haganah, and the Jewish Agency for Palestine sent Jordan's King Abdullah a letter of apology, which he rebuffed, held them responsible for it, and warned of terrible consequences if similar incidents occurred. Wait, what? Palestinians are murdering people? I thought they were all amazing. No, this is these are the early Jews murdering Palestinians, but nice try, Kick Chatter. Jesus Christ. This is what I mean. There's always like the back and forth. What? The Hadassah convoy massacre took place on April 13th, where a convoy escorted by Haganah militia bringing medical and military supplies and personnel to Hadassah Hospital on Mount Scopus, Jerusalem, was ambushed by Arab forces. Non-primary source needed. 78 Jewish doctors, nurses, students, patients, faculty members, and Haganah fighters, and 1 British soldier were killed in the attack, including 23 women. Why did the women get fucking their own special bullshit here? Arabs claimed they had attacked a military formation, and all members of the convoy had engaged in combat, and that it had been impossible to distinguish combatants from civilians. I bet you could do, this would be very dark, but I bet you could do like a college course, like the history of Palestine and Israel seen through the massacres. Like I bet you could, there's probably one per year almost that you could trace every single year of the existence of Israel and Palestine from massacre to massacre to massacre. So they've been lying about killing civilians since the beginning. Okay, yeah, but like you could argue that for both sides, right? Because it seems like there was probably no reason for, well, there was probably reason for them to fight people in the village, but there probably wasn't a reason for the Irgun and the Lehi to, probably not to jeer, spit out, stone, loot, and murder civilians. Okay, probably not a good reason for that. Jesus. Every year is being too conservative. Yeah, this is why when I was going through, there's going to be, maybe I should like gather like a list of important massacres, but when I was doing my research on that, I just stopped doing all the massacres because it's like every, like, there's just, it's just wild. There's just too much. Oh, wait, holy shit, oh my god. I thought I just scrolled through a list of the massacres for Israel and Palestine, but no, this is just for 2 years. Or no, I'm sorry, not for 2 years, but this is for Mandate Palestine. So this is just from 1920 to 1948. Jesus. And like the vast majority of these are from like 38 to 48. Who's got the biggest kill counts? Let's check. The Labor Strike Revolt in 36. Okay, Arabs have this one. The Palestine riots, Arabs have this one. The Kfar Etzion, I clicked this, but I don't remember reading it. This is in 48, the day before Israeli Declaration of Independence. Yeah, that is true, to be fair. The labor strike revolt ended up with more Arabs killed than Jews killed. Which was similar for the... I think the first Intifada had like 1,000 Palestinians killed by other Palestinians. I think like they were the... Right? Wait, is that not true? Did I just make that up? 359 killed by Palestinians. Sorry. Wait, am I thinking of the second Intifada? No, I thought it was the first Intifada. I thought I read like 900 or 1,000 killed by... Wait, hold on. What is happening to my brain? Control F. 900. Intifada casualties. Between 1988 and 1992, intra-Palestinian violence claimed the lives of nearly 1,000, mainly due to the PLO killings of suspected collaborators. Is that just not included here under the casualties and losses? Oh, it is here. Widespread executions of an estimated 822 Palestinians killed as alleged Israeli collaborators. Why is that not reported under casualties and losses? Isn't that kind of weird? Dude, is this fake news really about to take off? Is that what we're doing here? I just saw somebody post this in my DGG chat. CNN, AP, and New York Times knew about October 7th before it happened. They had reporters embedded. Breaking. AP, CNN, New York Times, and Reuters had journalists embedded with Hamas terrorists on October 7th. If this is the same guy I read before, these are not journalists that are employed by these people. They're freelance photographers. Is this going to be the new thing? 58,000 likes? Reuters' response to the journalist's story. Reuters denies any suggestion or prior knowledge of October 7th attacks. Okay. Do I need to read this? Okay, hold on. We don't need... Why do we even want to look at this? Oh, here's our Dayer. Is it Dayer Yassin? The Palmach was the elite fighting force of the Haganah. Okay. Jesus. Prisoners. 37 to 70 Arab prisoners. Palmach officer Elad Peled recalled that our men began blowing up the village. The intoxication of victory blinded them and they went berserk, breaking and destroying property. Okay, these two things are very different. Blowing up the village and breaking and destroying property. Are we talking about like firing artillery and destroying buildings? Or are we talking about like taking a bat and like breaking windows?
But there are definitely different strains in Zionism. The current administration does not reflect Zionism.
Oh, you can speak on the computer now?
It is the administration that is administering Israel at this point, and it has made, I think, some very bad policy choices, extremely bad. I'm not a Netanyahu supporter, but to sort of say that all Zionism, which really just says Israel wants its own homeland and doesn't speak to Palestinians and doesn't speak to anything else, seems to me to be, it's a canard that I don't appreciate, but, Sully, go ahead and do what you want to. Genocide. Israel is not doing genocide. I think, was it Jay who pointed out, when in 1967, Gaza Strip had 394,000 occupants. It now has 2.3 million, just Gaza. Now, if Israel was doing genocide, presumably that would not be the number, right? Because obviously it would have done something to reduce the number, not increase the number, ninefold or whatever that is. It's funny.
Thierry, oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I got a call, but I just...
So what did you say? Yeah, so what did you say? So Gaza population was what to what?
In 1967, it was 394,000. Today, it is 2.3 million. Genocide would mean you want to get rid of everyone in that population. People throw around that term. It is not the policy of Israel. It is clearly not the policy in Gaza. You can make arguments about what's going on currently, but what you can't say is this is a policy of Israel, because it simply is untrue, or at least let's just say they clearly haven't been carrying out this policy if it was this policy, which it's not. Finally, displacing people. The only person I heard talk about displacing people on this stage, and that includes anybody who supports Israel, etc., was Jackson Hinkle,
Well, I'm gonna
who
man request
basically
to speak.
suggested that all people, all Israelis should go back from whence they came to Germany and places like that.
Jesus.
He was the only one who made that claim. I don't think that claim is out there. And as Zev has said, and I think most of us on this stage agree, I think we would love to see a two-state solution in which Palestine could prosper, be a happy partner, and have its own land. The problem is when we go back to sort of old tropes and what happened in 1917 and what happened in 47 and 48 in the Nakba, we never advance, right? And so, you know, part of this is just that we really need to stay where we are and figure out what is the solution from now on. That is not it. Obviously, that's incredibly difficult, but I do think most Israelis support a two-state solution with Palestine having a thriving country. That would be best for both people.
True.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I want to go to Eunice Sully before you. I will go to Eunice now.
Wait,
Eunice,
let me respond. Let me respond. No, because you let him.
Yeah, I've got a Palestinian on stage to speak, so you can't use that card anymore.
Well,
Eunice,
I'm gonna.
Sully, I'll give you the mic after that, man.
Let me make my point and then I'm gonna leave. Let me make my point.
Sully, I'll be wrapping up.
This is like full on Zionist control.
Yeah, because Eunice is very Palestinian, very Zion,
it doesn't matter. Eunice can make his point later because.
It's because Zionism, man. You can't. You have to speak as Zionism. If Eunice speaks Zionism.
No, let me speak, right? Because let's be clear, like Eunice, English is a second language.
Eunice is an incredible speaker, by the way. I'm not sure if you've had him on stage. He's an incredible speaker.
I'm sure he is, but let me respond to the manipulative words that Tira and VZ used, and then I'll respond. And then you can go to. I'll leave anyway, and you can go to Eunice. So first things first. It's quite clear, and it says gone to Human Rights Watch, that they used it on populated areas. Populated areas means that there's people in it. The second thing is the Zionist, extremist, terrorist regime also talked about using nuclear bombs. Remember when the world was crying when someone from the Russian administration talked about nuclear bombs, and yet these guys are actually talking about using nuclear bombs. Another point what Tira made, which is quite manipulative, but you know I catch these things, is she said about killing civilians. I said right from the beginning that civilians died. I even said that there is a very good chance that Hamas killed civilians. What I said was that was it done intentionally or not? Because we know that the IOF killed a lot of their own civilians.
IOF?
Murdered a lot of their own civilians. And I'm guessing it
the
wasn't
Israeli Offensive Force.
Cute. We know that there is data to suggest that IOF and Israelis use their people as human shields. So maybe they were using it as human shields. She also made the point about Amalek, very manipulative, very sly. Because in reality, when they
Israeli
talk
Air
about
Force
Amalek,
might be what he's saying.
they're talking about
Or
Hamas.
I don't know if he's saying.
They're talking about Amalek means that they're gonna murder.
Is he saying do you think he's saying IOF is like Israeli Occupation or Oppression or Offensive Force, or do you think he's saying IAF for Israeli Air Force? Did Israel deploy the Air Force to fight off the Gaza invader people on October 7th? Or was it Occupation Forces? Oh, okay, never mind.
Hamas. He was talking about murdering Palestinians. Now you talk about Zionism. What is Zionism? Zionism isn't. If Zionism was only that the Israelis can have their own state, brilliant. The problem is that Zionism as an ideology is an oppressive ideology. It basically treats everybody, all Gentiles, as a slave class. They also have control over very aspects of society.
Okay, let's finish these memes. Hold on.
What song are you listening to?
I'm actually listening to the streamer Destiny.
Thanks so much. Have a nice day.
The rioting needs to.
Jesus. Okay.
That's like saying there was less people in the Holocaust. Now there's more.
It mutes the whole website, not just the tab.
That's being made. In reality, what we're saying is what's happening right now is a complete genocide.
Okay, I'll come back to this. We got memes to watch. Back to
Eunice, you there? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, Tira, I don't know where you are from in Israel or where you live outside of Israel right currently or not. There's a lot of fallacies. That's because I'm very sorry to say that. Maybe you're very aware about the Israeli public, how Israeli society is composed.
Wappenheimer.
But the humane thing about Israelis, and now I very seldom make generalization. They dehumanize the other part or belittle their suffering. And that's what common Israel, like most of the Israelis do. When you refer to Nakba, it's in 1948. Nakba is an ongoing process. I'm factually speaking. You want an example? No worries. 7th of October, when Hamas slaughtered civilians inside the kibbutzim in Gaza envelope. And the whole event unfolded and whatever. Since 7th of October, 13 Palestinian communities in the West Bank has been forcibly displaced. Ethnic cleansed is the most correct word to use. Why? In Khirb al-Tuba, in Massacres, Israeli settlers, and those are pro-militias. It's like, okay, they're settlers, they're extremists. No, some of them are use semi-military uniforms. Read the article produced by Plus 972 by the Israeli activist and also journalist Yuval Abraham, speaking about the desert frontiers, how Israeli settlers are doing militias and being part of the military. They said if your house hasn't been raising an
Wow,
Israeli
Jeremiah,
flag on it,
thanks for
they'll
giving
come
5 memberships.
tomorrow and burn it. Of course, he didn't do that. He just half of the population of Khirb al-Tuba left Massacres, and half of them who stayed, they burned their houses the day after. I'm speaking about 17 communities in Ramallah, in Nablus. You want Khillat al-Farisiyya, you want Ain Shibli, you want Mu'arrajat, when Israeli settlers burned their houses. Have you heard about, maybe you haven't heard about this, but I know I'm educating about this. Have you heard about Operation Mole in 1958? Let's go away from the West Bank. Let's go away from Gaza and go to Kafr Qasim. Kafr Qasim is in the triangle. It's a Palestinian town inside Israel. You haven't heard about IDF General Chadmi, who committed a massacre in Kafr Qasim. All of them, after they were condemned, indicted and convicted by the Israeli court, year after the Israeli president gave them a pardon, when he slaughtered 58 Palestinians, including children, and when the Israeli officials themselves were speaking with each other and saying, "Why are we killing civilians? Like it's okay. We need some civilians at least to convince them to go to Jordan." That's a whole case. It's called the Kafr Qasim massacre. Also in Khan Yunis, where people were slaughtered. When you speak about Nakba, it's an ongoing process. You use a very common fallacy. Oh, look at the Gaza population; they tenfolded. That's because we're refugees. And you also you say maybe it's old. No, give me a very new example. The Israeli Ministry of Intelligence, in their paper, disclosed this war. Said that they planned, they came with recommendations. It's like the Israelis are not. No, the Israeli Minister of Intelligence came with recommendations telling that we need to kick out Gazans from Gaza and build Israeli settlements after that. You don't believe me? Take the words of Danny Ayalon, Deputy Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel. He's the government. He represents you. Hamas doesn't. No, not Hamas, not Abbas represent us. They represented us back in 2006. It ended 2010. Now Palestinians doesn't have any solid representative, or it's maybe they represent, but they're not the inclusive representation, because Israel has done elections 4 or 5 times the last few years. So they represent what you do. They represent their state of your own actions. He said, "Let's build 10 cities in Sinai, and make Gaza live there." So don't claim that like the Israelis are not trying to kick us out from our area. That was the main goal. They have been doing it since 1948 non-stop. I don't want to go into where I'm from my village, and then I will end with this, please, Mario. I will end with this. My village, no, don't want. It's near Ramallah. In my village, my father applied to dig a water well under where we live in. It's in Area C. There is no Palestinian Authority, no Hamas, nothing, just Israel.
Okay, so here's a big problem with like presenting like Israel as like this horrible bloodthirsty state. Why not just ask the question, like, okay, well then why hasn't Israel just killed or displaced all the Palestinians yet? Why is anybody still in Gaza? Why is anybody still in the West Bank? If the stated mission, if they truly are like pro-genocide, like why don't they just kill them all then? Like what are they waiting for?
No Palestinian in my village. No police, nothing.
No, go
ahead.
A few things. First of all, in 1948, the Gaza Strip was occupied by Egypt, where it was occupied for the better part
20 years.
For the next 19 years. So Israel couldn't have been doing anything to Gazans between 1948 and 1967 because it wasn't there. And the people who invaded
Have you heard about the massacre in Khan Yunis in 1958?
And the people who invaded Israel in 1948 were the Egyptians and the Iraqi and the Syrians and the Lebanese. And
I don't think Egyptians came with ships to Israel. Israeli Jewish immigrants after World War II
tried to destroy the state of Israel in 5 Arab states tried to destroy the state of Israel in 1948. They occupied the Gaza Strip for the next 19 years. Didn't even occur to them to give Palestinians independence because there weren't Palestinians at the time. They
Let me
were
tell
only
you why.
elected
Let me
in
tell you
19.
why. Because
Which part of it was a lie, Eunice?
No, it's
Which
not a lie. It's
part
not a
of it
lie.
was a
Gaza
lie?
occupied Egypt. Egypt occupied Gaza. But this is
Egypt
something.
occupied Gaza between 1948
Yes.
and
Yes.
1967.
And why
This
didn't they
is
declare,
widely
right?
known.
Why didn't they
Okay,
declare? Why didn't they
Eunice,
declare?
So I'll let you.
I
So
was very good.
yeah, Noga. Yeah, go ahead, Noga.
Because Gaza
We're gonna
is
see.
not
Let her. Let her.
Palestinian.
Let her finish. Let her finish. Go ahead. Go ahead, Noga.
So again, you can't argue that Israel has been trying to do anything to the people of Gaza since 1948 because Israel wasn't even there until
You can make
1967.
massacres in 1943.
Eunice, last time.
1968.
Eunice, last time, man. Go ahead, Noga.
And again, the Egyptians didn't feel the need to give Palestinians their own states, probably because they weren't Palestinians at the time. They were just recognized as Arabs. The idea of Palestinian nationality wasn't actually turned into
Lie,
a reality.
and I'm not gonna
Didn't
do
even
anything.
call
That's
it that
a lie.
until
That's a lie.
1960s.
This
Okay,
lies.
that's fine.
Eunice, I've had to bring it
How
down.
about we
So
talk
Noga, final words. And Noga, I want to ask you a quick question. I'll let you make your points, but I want to ask you a question as well as you make your points, just about the whole label of Zionism and the definition. We've had, I think it was Jay or I think Tira and Sully disagreeing.
And I would like to add on to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Tira.
Okay, I can. If you want to talk about Zionism, it's one of the points I was going to make, but it's a longer one. You're going to have to be a little patient. The natives of this land that have been documented as natives of this land for the better part of the last 4 millennia, that's 4,000 years, are the Jews. It's documented in one of the oldest documents recognized
she's a
human history, the
big
Bible,
Zionist person,
and in
maybe?
many other places. Colonialism in this area is Muslim, and they've been trying to kick us out for, well, a while now. And they're not the only ones. We've been kicked out many times and we kept coming back. And we've been kicked out and kept coming back. And that, the coming back part, this insistence of coming back to your homeland and living here and making a state here, that is what Zionism is. And that notion is, I guess it's a translation. It's it's an 1800s, 1900s translation of a notion that exists in the Bible. And there are many ways to express it, but the notion that the people of Israel belong in the land of Israel, that is what Zionism basically is. It's our land. And I understand that in a world where indigenous people tend to be the ones that lose, it is problematic for people to understand that every once in a while, the indigenous people of a land actually win and stay there. But if you look at the Middle East and you see 56 Islamic countries around us, and you understand how large Islamic colonialism in the Middle East is, and you look at the small segment that is Israel, and you remember that 70% of what was supposed to be Israel in the 1920s was cut off and given to Saudi Arabians who do not belong in the area at the expense of Palestinians. We accepted that. You took 70% of what was supposed to be Israel, you turned it into Transjordan. Now it's the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan, although more than 70% of it is actually
we'll go back to that point, Noga. Just on the Zionism point, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Israel. I'm a Zionist, but I'm a pragmatic one. So I view a little, I'm a little bit different than some other people. So these are my views, right? This is my interpretation of Zionism, right? People cannot rewrite my history to say that, well, Jews have no claim to the land. But the same thing, I can't try to rewrite anyone else's history, right? Look, Eunice, who I disagree with, of course he has a claim to the land. This argument that there's no such thing as Palestinians, of course there are such things as Palestinians. They're there. Eunice is a Palestinian. So I don't like people trying to say, oh, who was here first or this or that. They're both an ancient people that have been on the land. My views are this. Yes, I'm a Zionist. I believe the Jews have a right to live in the land of Israel, but I'm also pragmatic, right? I'm able to separate ideology from reality. There are two people fighting over a tiny sliver of land, which is why, although yes, in the heart of hearts, I do believe in some way that God gave the land to the Jewish people, but I can't say to Eunice or to Rasha or to you or to Jackson or to anyone else, my version of history is the absolute. version of history. So that's why I'm in favor of two states for two people. And that's why I call myself a realistic, pragmatic Zionist, right? I'm able to separate ideology from reality.
So Jackson, there's a point that was made earlier. If there's been genocide in Gaza, you've got the population going up from 400,000 to 2.3 million today, 400,000 back in 1967. So the argument that was made was how could the population grow up, 6x, I guess, or 5x, 6x, considering that Israel is trying to commit genocide. Now, a counter to that point is during the apartheid. Actually, I won't make the counter myself. I'll let you make a counter if you believe Israel is trying to commit genocide.
Make the full counter for your audience. Paint the full picture.
Actually, I'm going to prevent making the counter because I want to verify. The real reason is I want to verify the information that was sent. So,
in some places, some companies don't have employment ties, but will treat one as an employee. In Brazil, you open a single-person company and then sell your services to a company. Totally not a job, guys. Okay, I don't know what the point of that was, but thanks for
So
the $10.
let's look at the stats here. They say China is committing a genocide in Xinjiang. Keep in mind, they can't actually cite a single Uyghur that has been killed in this so-called genocide. And also, the population rate of Uyghurs in China is growing faster than the Han Chinese. The Chinese have built thousands of mosques and allow for proper prayer and worship for Muslims at top universities all throughout China. One of the biggest celebrities in China is a Uyghur. This is a long way of saying that, okay, if that, according to these same people that come in this space, is a genocide, then definitely what's going on, the mass slaughter, the ethnic cleansing, and really the most important part of this is, of course, the killing, of course, the murder, of course, the slaughtering. But when you really break it down, it's
Hamas and Ethan Decline arguing one state versus two state solution. Wait, right now?
Prior to 1948, you look at a World Book Atlas, National Geographic map, there was no such thing as Israel. And the world was, it was much better in the region then.
Not now.
So when you look at it now, they've had their land stolen. They've been ethnically cleansed from their land. Land is the most important focal matter for any single subject in a nation. That's why we say we got to defend our land. We got to have guns to defend our land. That's why it's so important. Everyone calls out what Bill Gates and BlackRock are doing. They're buying up all the land in the United States right now. Okay, so what we need to have
Did he say
is
Bill
the
Gates and
ability
BlackRock?
for Palestinians to be able to have their own state on their own land without being forcibly removed and killed off.
Jay, I want to go to you, and the counterpoint that I had was that using population growth as an explanation on why genocide was not committed. You've got, if you want to use apartheid in South Africa, black population increased during the apartheid period, so it's not a fair argument based on that. But I would love your thoughts on the points that Jackson made, Jay. And
hold on, apartheid and genocide are not the same thing. What?
The Uyghurs, which, China is...
This is why I hate these words. These words get thrown around and they just don't really convey any meaningful idea. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I wish people would just stop using them. It's like actually inhibiting people's understandings of what's going on. But whatever.